Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. Your host, One-Eyed Jack, today, and I'm joined by, my co-commentator for tomorrow, and of course the cup final, Mr. Billy Trey, is in the house. We're colour coordinated tonight, and that wasn't scheduled. It's nice to see. This time next week, it will all be over and done with. The cup final, of course, but before then, we have tomorrow night to look forward to, which is a trip to the London Stadium, Billy, where we take on West Ham. How confident are you tomorrow night?
I'm kind of neither way, to be honest. I'm not confident. I'm not confident of winning or losing, to be honest. We've got a good record at the London Stadium.
Yep.
West Ham have improved an awful lot since Potter's come in. But I think the way they play now, I think it suits us more than what it did when they were physical us at St James's. So it's a funny one.
Well, look, we'll go through, obviously, the potential lineups a bit later on in the show. But for me, I've heard some people say just write off tomorrow night, concentrate on the cup final. I'm not the... I don't know, Billy. I don't know about that. I would rather... we still went to West Ham, we put a performance in, and we got a bit of morale up, because if anything, we need to go into the cup final with a feel-good factor, don't we? And a defeat at West Ham will not give us that feel-good factor.
Absolutely not. We need a bit of confidence behind us. I don't see us being confident at this precise moment in time, because we haven't played well for a few weeks. We've got players missing, of course.
Yeah. I
can't see the confidence being there. But if we can go out tomorrow and put performance on, especially with how the results have gone this weekend, they've really all gone against us.
Yeah.
We need the points. We need to, if we want to maintain a European push without the Carabao Cup, then we need to win. So absolutely, we need to win.
Well, the thing is, we're down to 9th in the table after results this weekend. So, you know what? It is an important game, because if we take our eye off the Premier League and things don't go our way next Sunday, we could be playing catch up to try and... I know it's very close. You know, the points gap is still very close in the Premier League from where we are up into, the top where we want to be. But the problem I have with it, Billy, is if we take our eye off it for a brief second, you're suddenly playing a bigger catch-up than you'd want to. And I think that's what Eddie Howe was, trying to get alluded to on Friday, was to try and get into them and concentrate on Monday. And then, obviously, after Monday, we can start the build-up to the cup final.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't seem 5 minutes ago when we were fourth. We were potentially looking at trying to catch Forest in third. So, within a space of 2 or 3 weeks, we're now down in mid-table. So we've really got to pick our socks up here, because the form ain't been great. We're not playing anywhere near to our, potential. The results ain't been great either. And we've got a cup final next week to try and get ready for. So, a win is the only thing really that will help us out, really, confidence-wise, momentum-wise. Yeah. We need both of those.
Now, I have heard some people say we should play our cup team, get them, play the team that is going to start the cup final. Then you've got the opposite side of that saying, we've got to worry about injuries and things like that. Injuries could certainly knock us off our game and things like that. I mean, look, there's going to be a risk of players getting injured in training or anything like that in the build-up to the match. I generally think we have to treat this game just as seriously as we do the cup final and every game after. It's vitally important that we keep our eyes on the road here and make sure that we don't drop points, because as you say, West Ham have picked up recently. They had a fantastic win at the Emirates. Then I think they beat, was it Leicester last time out as well? So they are on a win and run. They have got, they've kept 2 clean sheets in a row. They're not playing too badly at the minute, and Graham Potter's got them going a little bit.
Yeah, he's got them playing in a style that the West Ham fans want to see as well. They don't want to see, the really physical style that we saw at St James's, where they really, the Souček and Antonio and just basically push through us, and that's how they win it. And I think it suits us more for them to play football with us. We can hit them on the counter. Whether we play Harvey Barnes on the left hand side or not, I don't know. I'd like to see him get a go, just to get him some confidence up. If he doesn't do it, then we can always go back to the tried and tested formula of Willock and Joe Linton. But I'd like to see Barnes play tomorrow.
Spoiler here, Billy. He's not in the predicted lineup on most of the sites,
isn't he?
No, but we'll talk about that, because obviously he does have options on the left. Jens with a super chat saying, so Nunes escaped the red card yesterday. nasty red cartel. I did want to touch on that, Billy, because I saw the foul by Nunes. Kind of lashed out, and he wasn't even going for the ball. And then the penalty that they got as well. Listen, it's not Liverpool's fault that they get these decisions, but when you see things like that going on, you kind of think, well, what happens in the cup final? Van Dijk, is he going to get away with another ridiculous challenge? Are they going to get a penalty for diving? And as Newcastle fans, you look at that game against Southampton, you think they did everything they could to turn that game around by cheating.
Absolutely. And Southampton deserved their lead at half time. And then the referee decided to get involved in the game. It was never a penalty. Never ever penalty. I don't think Nunes is a red card either, to be fair. But they do get decisions, don't they? They've had lots of decisions every single week, it seems. Salah gets a penalty. So, I mean, even the time that Van Dijk did get punished at St James's, got sent off, rightly so. He should also sent off Trent Alexander-Arnold same day. He should definitely have had 2 down. Yeah.
I still think he is their massive leak, but we'll obviously talk about that in the build-up of the cup final, going to Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he's just not a defender. Denveril, who's been a member for 3 months on the channel now, thank you very much. He says, hi, both. My wife has become a member over the last month, and she's not really into football, just loves the banter from the 4 of you. Well, thank you very much, and good evening to Mrs. Denveril. I know that's probably not your surname, but you know what I mean. Peter Bjordford, member for 22 months now on the channel. Thank you, Pete. Sorry we couldn't hammer Man United for you. We do as best we can with midfielders and fullbacks as forwards. Yeah, I did expect Arsenal to win that game, but
they were lucky to get a draw in the end.
Well, yeah, they were. But a great performance by Raya in the Arsenal goal, by the way. A really, really strong display from him. Julie J says, what a strike by Ratface. I don't want to talk about him. George Boyle says, if Big Joe gets a yellow, it'll destroy our left-hand side for the final. Can't take the risk. It doesn't matter. If Joe Linton gets spooked tomorrow, he won't miss the final. It doesn't go against the Carabao. It's really strange, funny rules with that, but he'll only be suspended for the Premier League. He won't be suspended for the cup final. So don't worry about
unless he's sent off.
Well, sent off is different. Yes. It doesn't make sense that though, does it?
Not really.
If he gets a yellow and he's got a ban, he has to serve that in the Premier League. But if he gets a sending off, then he's banned for the cup fight. It is.
Well, I guess 10 yellow cards in 10 Premier League games. It's kind of this the weight of numbers, I guess.
But this is the thing about Joe Linton, Billy. We've talked about this all season. Is that sometimes he kind of lets lose discipline quite often in games where he's frustrated. And I just wonder if the likes of West Ham will look at that tomorrow and think, well, if Joe Linton plays, we've got some ratty midfielders that can get after him, and that's a way, because West Ham won't be bothered about the Carabao Cup final. They'll be bothered about getting the points in the Premier League, and if they want to get stuck into us, then I think they will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got the midfield players to physically compete with Joe Linton. I think that's why Joe Linton has to actually play, because they whether they're still playing with a nice style, they do have the Součeks of this world and people like that who will put a foot in. Paqueta is not averse to leaving a foot in as well. Yeah. So I think Joe Linton has to play, to be honest.
Well, he's been out, hasn't he, Paqueta? And he's got that case. He's got his case coming up very soon as well. So that should be interesting. Yvonne says, Paul, get well. Just to confirm, I also received the Barnes package. I hope your eye wasn't a nice package. Jenny says, hi, Paul. Received my prize yesterday. Thank you. Great stuff. Good to know you got them all. It is painful, guys. I must admit, it is painful, but I just think I've got an infection there that just needs a bit either antibiotic cream or something. I'll pop down to the pharmacy tomorrow and see what they can do. Shade Gaming says, Paul, I've just realised that what's happened to your eye. I feel terrible. I don't know why. That must be for an earlier comment, but hey ho. Emma joins us. Hi, everyone. I suppose that says Paul and Billy Bob. Can't stay because I'm still on the A1 after a 12-hour round trip to Fort William. Back to Ashington. Bloody hell, that's a long way up north. PD Proudlock says, I've got a feeling Joe Linton and Isak will be rested tomorrow. I don't think there should be.
There's more chance of Isak, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's still uncertainty whether Isak's fit, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we don't know whether he's fully fit or whether he is. He was at the Carabao Media Day doing all the photos for his shirt and everything for, for the graphics before the game and things like that. So who knows? I guess we'll see. But listen, I would rather the players played because they'll have had 2 weeks off then before the cup final. And I don't like it when we have too much time off, Billy. That's a strange thing to say. But I'd rather we played games than training because, when we've had time off in the past, we've come back and some of the players that have had more time than others haven't looked good at all. Absolutely not. Yeah, they seem to go rusty, don't they? Just missing a week. They need to keep that kind of... Although having said that, the last performances, when they've played week after week, that haven't been great either. So, yeah, I think we need to play our full strength team tomorrow and get a bit of confidence. And whether they get injured, they get injured. It's football. Yeah, at the end of the day, you get injured in training on Wednesday and not play tomorrow. So, Yeah. Indigo Figure wraps it up for us. Accumulative yellows are handled at competition level. Red cards are handled at the FA level. There you go. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. I don't see... Tom's telling me to wear an eye patch. Thomas George says, get well soon. I'm not ill. I'm not ill. It's just painful. Any doctor's advice out there for Paul? Yeah, I'll take that. Some people have put rubber a gold ring on it, Billy. It's apparently an old wives' tale to get rid of eye infections. For a start, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, interesting. Steve says Paquette is guaranteed to launch one of our players. He's getting a ban after this anyway. Well, if you think him and Bruno are best mates, would Paquette do that? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I hope he doesn't play. To be honest with you, the fact is they're looking for a lifetime ban. He should be played anyway. Well, I mean, yeah. If what he's done is serious to pursue a lifetime ban, I 100% agree with you. I mean, innocent. It's not betting, it's like betting on bookings and time to throw-ins and things like that, which is exactly the kind of thing that Grobbelaar and them were doing back in the 90s. I mean, obviously, innocent till proven guilty, but if it is, then he's in a bad way. Keith Truscott with the super chats in a paper thin squad with lack of players, injuries galore, suspensions. We can't afford to rest anyone. Hope your eye is better soon, bud. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, look, again, I just really think we should go into it rather than thinking negatively, Billy, about, we might get this player injured, this player. Why not go into it with a bit of positivity and say, right, we need to play our cup final team because they need to go into it and try and get a bit of confidence up because we know we're not playing great at the minute. We've scrapped through a couple of results, but in general, we haven't played too well. So why not just go out and give it a go? And then what will be, it will be. The big teams in the past, when they've gone into these games, the Man Cities, the Liverpools of this world, they don't rest players in the league games before cup finals because it's just as important. Well, he can play his full strength midfield tomorrow. And we haven't had the luxury of that for a few weeks. So play the three of them together. That should strengthen the defence with Tonali sitting like he did before. Hopefully Dubravka maintains his place in goal. It's just the Lewis Hall one that's the worrying one for me. When he plays Target at left back, he probably will do. But Target's not got the pace against Jared Bowen. Kind of worry for him if he goes up that right-hand side. Well, Billy, there's also the alternative of bringing Emil Kraft in, moving Share to the left and putting Dan Burn left back. There is, although could also play Trippier right back in Livramento left back again. Well, that's probably the way I think he's going to go. Phil from Canada says, play the cup lineup. Some might be in unusual positions against Liverpool. Rachel says, get some cold water, boil and cool it, then fully rinse your eye with it. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that tonight, Rachel. Yeah. Suzanne! I don't want to shout too loud because I'll blow Billy's ears off. Eddie said in his presser he was playing a full-strength team tomorrow. Yes. What I will say is that Eddie says things in press conferences that don't necessarily come true, Billy.
Absolutely not. We've got no intention of signing Harvey Barnes.
Oh, Harvey, there you are. Fancy seeing you here. Yeah. Look, it's good. If we win tomorrow, we go sixth. And you know, it generates momentum because if we lose tomorrow and then we're struggling to catch up with the top six again, I just don't know, Billy. I've always said this all along, even like last week. I said we have to go into the West Ham game and play it as if the cup final doesn't exist. Because if there's any thoughts on the cup final, you know, 50-50 balls and things like that can lead to goals against us if we don't go in for these challenges. I'm sorry, I don't want us to, you know, bottle out the challenges because of the cup final.
And not just that, if you bottle out challenges, that's when you're most likely to get injured. You know,
exactly.
You go in 80%. You know, that's when you get caught, and that's when you get injured. So that can't happen. We've got to try and win the game tomorrow. We've got to go out and try and win it, put everything behind it, and then we've got 6 days then to rest for the final.
Billy,
have Liverpool got a Champions League game midweek?
Yeah. PSG, I think it's Tuesday they play. So I can bet you bottom dollar, though, that they play a full-strength team.
Of course, they've got it, haven't they?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's still a close game. They're only 1-0 up. So they'll be playing a full-strength team as well. Isn't league position more important than winning a cup, money-wise? Money-wise, yes, you know, compared to winning the Carabao. But, you know, if we win the Carabao, we end 70 years of domestic hurt, and we also have a guaranteed place in Europe. So, you know, I mean,
I don't think many comes into it. We all want
there's so
more
much
than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more to it than money. You know, the lift that it will give the club, the fans, the area. I mean, just to win a domestic cup after 70 years, you know, we ain't performed well in cup finals, Billy. That's fair to say. And I think this time around, despite the injuries, you know, again, we'll talk about that later on in the week, but I do genuinely believe that some of these players, if they do step up, we can give Liverpool a game. But it's all about tomorrow night, because I think we have to get our football going. We have to start getting back to the Newcastle United that we know that can perform. And that's by going to West Ham tomorrow and just putting a marker on the game and making Liverpool take note. You know, go and destroy West Ham tomorrow night and make Liverpool think, oh, Newcastle's coming into form again. You know, it's not going to be the Newcastle that turned up at Anfield a couple of weeks ago.
Well, we haven't played well at Wembley for years and years and years. It's not 55, apart from the one game against Chelsea in the semi-final. Well, thought we were outstanding and we were really unlucky to lose. Yeah, but it's not been a happy hunting ground for us at all.
No.
But I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. It's a one-off game, 2-horse race. Anything can happen. Absolutely. Anything can happen. And I think we can, you know, despite the obvious gap in quality between the two sides, you know, we've got a fighting chance of winning a cup. Yeah. But tomorrow night's as important, but more important than it's besides moment in time, because we need to get ourselves back in that top 5, top 6 kind of area.
Yeah. Keith Truscott, Dr. House with a super chat saying, hi, Paul and Billy. Hope your eye gets better soon, Paul. We are still chasing Champions League, and it's still a main goal. We need to go for it. I mean, look, you mentioned before, Billy, we've got a good record at the London Stadium. We've had some good results down there. And I really do genuinely think that if we can get the first goal tomorrow, West Ham tend to, you know, go to pieces if they fall behind this season. They haven't had a great season, hence why now Graham Potter's manager. But Graham Potter's got this knack, Billy. I mean, he didn't have a great time at Chelsea, but there was all sorts of behind the scenes why that didn't happen. He's a very, very good manager, very astute manager. A little bit like Eddie Howe, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done a hard job. He started his managerial career in Sweden, of all places. You know, he's been around the lower leagues, did really well at Brighton, then went to Chelsea, didn't work from there. But like you say, under that board, it will work for anyone there. and he's finally got himself back into work at West Ham, and he's doing really well for them. And it's about the style of play. They're playing some good football, and yeah, he's a good manager, very good manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just ask a question? This may be way out of control here, Billy, but people are saying pink eye with laughing emoji. What's pink eye?
I don't know.
I don't even know what it is. I mean, it's obviously some kind of joke or something to do with probably. Well, I don't know, but I don't actually know what pink eye is. So maybe someone will explain it.
I thought it was when you have a photo took and you sometimes end up with a red eye or a pink eye on the actual photograph. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, Thomas says if you can empathise, he gets eye infections quite a lot. It's strange. I just felt a pain around, the bones around, well, your eye socket, Billy. They were a bit sore on Thursday, and then by Friday it was like a massive swelling in the corner of my eye. Strange.
Be careful with that.
Well, I know. I'm going to do that. The cool boiled water tonight just to soothe it, and then we'll get back. I'm sure it'll heal itself up. Malk says, think you need an A&E sign on the screen, but glad to see you both back on the Best Footy channel. Yeah, we should be sponsored by the NHS, to be honest, but I think
Red Cross in the middle of the banner.
Absolutely, yeah. Toon Review sponsored by the Red Cross. I'm getting told off by Baz. It's been like that for a week. Well, it hasn't. It's been like that since Friday, mate. Thursday was a bit painful, and then Friday it's swollen up. So that's not a week. But thank you for your concern. Let's have a look. I still don't know what pink eye is.
It's conjunctivitis, apparently.
Oh, is that what it is? House said they are highly trained athletes and need to play. Well, that's my point, Billy. These are highly trained athletes, and many times in recent weeks they've come out on social media saying that we weren't good enough, and Bruno's taken the brunt of the responsibility as captain, and that that's very admirable of him. But it's not just Bruno; it's various other players in that team who, for me, a big opportunity was at Anfield to really put a marker down against Liverpool and say, hey, you're not winning this cup without a fight. And it was just a powder puff performance. We didn't lay a glove on them, just like Man City. So that's why I think we've got to go to West Ham, play our strongest side, and try and dominate the game.
Yeah, it was really, like you say, powder puff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Without Alexander Isak in it. We had no threat at all up front, did we? Or in an attacking sense. And then we had Nick Pope in goal. So and Fabian Schär playing his usual game at the minute. So, yeah, I mean, if anything, it lures Liverpool into a false sense of security. If we can pull all the irons out the fire in one go and all have fantastic game next Sunday, they might not know what's hit them.
Well, exactly. The thing is, I think we're capable of winning the game, Billy. I really do think we're capable of winning the game. But again, we've been capable of winning all the other games that we said we were capable of winning and not done it. So, we've got to be careful. We've got a super chat from Spike Milligan. Thank you, Spike. My team would be Dubravka, Trips, Emil, Byrne, Tino, Bruno, Sandro, J7, Isak if it fit, Willock, and Wilson. So he would play. He's talking about playing Isak on the left, Billy.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, listen. He has played Wilson and Isak a few times, and to be fair, they've looked okay when they've played together.
Well, this was 18 months ago, 12 months ago.
Yeah, but he's also said Callum Wilson said he doesn't think they will play together.
Callum Wilson's at the minute is basically someone that stands on the pitch, offers nothing.
Yeah. Steve says lose tomorrow and Eddie is toast next week. I'm not subscribing to this. Look, I think Eddie's going to have the rest of the season regardless. Okay, I genuinely do. I don't see the point. I don't see the point of changing manager. If he loses the next 5 games, Billy, it's pointless. I think if we're going to change manager, it'll probably be early summer. Get the new manager in to take pre-season. But listen, Eddie could be an absolute hero this time next week. He could, we could, if we win the cup, and I don't care how we win the cup, whether we play shit for 89 minutes and suddenly a shot goes in off somebody's backside to win the game in the last minute, I ain't complaining about that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't sack anyone now, unless you're down the bottom. If they're going to sack Eddie Howe, it would have been before the January transfer window. Because what's the point? You've got to play with Eddie Howe's players now. And Eddie Howe's going to get the best out of those players rather than anyone else. So Eddie Howe's got till the end of the season at the very least.
Yeah. David says, with a wafer-thin squad and loads of injuries, we will probably stuff them 5-0. Yeah. I mean, it would be just like Newcastle, Billy.
Wouldn't put it past us at all.
Now, the predicted lineups, I'm not going to put them on the screen because I don't have I haven't got the laptop open to sort of to zoom in. But Newcastle's predicted lineup tomorrow, Billy, according to FOTMob, is they're going with Dubravka, Trippier, Shea, Burn, and Livramento, Bruno, Tonali, Joe Linton, and then up front, Murphy, Isak, Willock.
I mean, could easily be that. Could easily be that.
It could.
I think he's going to. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, we've spent a lot of money on Harvey Barnes. I think he's got to try and justify it somehow.
Well,
and if he plays tomorrow and plays well, scores a couple of goals, sets one up, I know I'm saying it. It's easier saying it than doing it. But if he does that, then he could play against Liverpool. But
yeah,
I'd much sooner go Alexander Arnold with pace rather than Barnes' cleverness, if you like.
I mean, could you Isak up against Trent, Billy?
Well, I think it's very interesting, wouldn't it? But then he's got Callum Wilson in the middle, and Van Dijk and Konate's pockets.
Yeah, but isn't it? This is going to sound weird, right? But this is why maybe the thing about Isak on the left is because West Ham. Let's take West Ham tomorrow night. Now their preferred lineup has got or predicted lineup has got a 5 at the back tomorrow for West Ham.
Yep.
They've got young Scarles as a left wing back and Wan-Bissaka as the right wing back. Then 3 centre backs are Cresswell, Kilman, and Todibo. Now, if you're thinking, is Isak going to rough those 3 centre backs up, or
he doesn't rough any centre backs up? That's not his game, is it?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, do we put Isak on the left and then give Wilson an opportunity to really go at those 3 centre backs and really give them a difficult time? Because if Wilson's good at one thing at the minute, Billy, he'll still like the physicality. I know it's a bit out there, and it's
If you want physicality, then you play it solo, don't you?
Yeah. Well, he's not going to do that, Billy. Is he?
He's not going to do that. But he's also not going to play Isak on the left. Absolutely not.
but wouldn't that be an option? And especially,
it is,
to try them like that tomorrow night, and we get some joy. I mean, Isak against Trent. I mean, Isak would have him for breakfast. And then
Trent's better than Isak against Wan-Bissaka, I've got to say, because Wan-Bissaka, if he's good at one thing, he's a good defender.
Yeah, he's a good player. But then, and then Wilson against, Van Dijk, get at him, because Van Dijk will hate it. And if there's an opportunity to wind somebody up in the Liverpool squad, it's him. So he does have options, though, Billy. This is what I'm trying to say. He does have, despite the injury suspensions, there is options there for Eddie.
He's got options. He's always had options. He's always had Sulu on the bench, hasn't he? I mean, I think Sulu offers us more than Callum Wilson at the precise moment in time.
Well, I cannot disagree with that. I think he does. But at the same time, Billy, it just takes one good game from Callum, because we know how good Callum can be.
It's true. And he's got a really good record against West Ham, which also
he has a very good game, because he always jokes with Antonio, of course, doesn't he? But obviously he's not available for West Ham, and hope his recovery's going really well from that horrible car accident. But he definitely does give us something different when he's on his game. The Willock one is interesting for me, Billy, because I think Willock for me just isn't doing it. And it's all right in fits and starts for sort of 5-10 minutes here and there. But, we're not seeing consistency. A little bit like Harvey Barnes, I guess. When they've been given their opportunities, Billy, they've shone for sort of 10 minutes or so, and then they just disappear. And we can't have that. If, these elite teams have players that turn up for the full game. And Willock just isn't doing it.
Joe Willock needs a run of games, and unfortunately for him, he's never going to get a run of games in his preferred position.
Yeah,
because we have 3 midfielders that are better than him. So he's got to feed on scraps and do it when he plays, but that's not how he does it.
Yeah.
I thought he played okay against Brighton last week when he came on. I thought he did pretty well, actually, even from a defensive point of view. He played pretty well against Birmingham, and obviously he was our matchman in Birmingham in the cup. Again, it's Birmingham.
Yeah,
but you're right.
I'm talking about 90 minutes, Billy, in the Premier League. This is where I worry about him.
Like you say.
Yeah.
Fits and starts.
And Harvey Barnes, you know, is he going to come and be a hero, or is he going to have that attitude as if to say, yeah, I'll turn up if I want? But the problem with Harvey Barnes is Harvey Barnes actually good enough, Billy? Because, you know, we've seen him score some cracking goals, but do we actually see him dominating the wing when he plays there? Have we ever seen him do that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not his style at all. He's hard to describe him as a winger, really, because he's more of an inside forward for me.
Yeah, I get you.
He cuts inside every time, and he's very predictable, actually. I mean, you say he's clever, he's very predictable, but he's got a massive chance to get himself in that Wembley lineup. And if he plays well tomorrow, then I think he'll play. But if he plays tomorrow, we don't know, do we?
See, this is the thing. I mean, Eddie could go and say to Harvey Barnes tomorrow, go and prove you want to start in the cup final. Not you should start. Go and prove that you want to start. There's a big difference between the two. We're halfway through the show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in on this Sunday night. We've got over 1,000 people watching on both platforms, so thank you very much. Please do give it a like if you're enjoying the show, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you like what you see. Please do take a membership if you do wish to do so. We've got some great prizes coming up as usual for members very soon, and of course, super chats are available. That's the $ at the bottom of the live chat, and that will enable you to guarantee to have your comment read out on the show. We got that many comments come through now on live shows. As a thank you, really, for super chatting. You're guaranteed to get your comment read out. And of course, thank you to channel sponsors Mamaroo Records, based in Whitley Bay, for all your music needs. Pop in and see Steve. Tell him you're a TTR viewer, and he will do you a cracking deal. Of course, music for vinyl, CDs, music merch. They do a bit of sporting merch as well. They do gift cards. It's your perfect place for all your musical needs in the Northeast. If you can't get in to see them in Whitley Bay, check them out online. It's pinned at the top of the description. So a big thanks once again to Mamaroo Records. Nathan says, were you driving yesterday? I thought I saw you. Looking forward to catching up on tonight's show. I may have been. Where did you see me, Nathan? And what car was I in?
You said you was going through Houghton, Hetton.
Going through Hetton? No, it wasn't me. Definitely not me in Hetton. Hetton's near Mackhamland, isn't it?
I think so. Houghton Springs, yeah.
Yeah. Sharon says, Paul, my granddaughter had an eye infection. It was orbital cellulitis. She had antibiotics. Get it checked out. Yeah, I will. I mean, at least nobody's saying I'm going to have my eyeball out, Billy. I think that's a positive from tonight.
Absolutely. But you have to go to the hospital and get that yellow stuff on your foot. I've seen people with yellow stuff
God.
on.
They look like they've got a bloody kidney. Is it your kidneys or your
jaundice? Yeah,
jaundice. Yeah, bloody hell. Anyway, let's talk about the potential fullbacks for Newcastle tomorrow, Billy. Of course, Trippier and Livramento in the predicted start. Would you do anything different with that, or would you tend to maybe change it up a little bit? Bring Matt Targett in, of course. But listen, Matt Targett. I'm getting wrong from Paul and Hetton. We're not all Mackhams. Thank you. I do apologise. Super chat from LEDC as well. Will we ever be the super club we dreamed of? Absolutely.
We are now.
We are a super club. Yeah, of course we are. We are. But would you bring Targett in? Because Targett, it was frustrating last week, Billy, because I think he did fine defensively when he appeared, but it was the crossing. I mean, listen, I didn't not like what I saw from Matt Targett, getting the ball and trying to whip it in straight away. I think we've been complaining about that for quite a lot of the season, haven't we? But he just couldn't clear the first man.
I don't mind playing Tina or Trippier at left back if it's emergency. But when you've got fit left backs and I play left back, I'd play Target personally. I'd play Target.
I mean, look, Livramento. Apparently, Eddie said he took a knock against Brighton. Now,
yeah, and he kept him on for the whole of extra time.
Again, exactly, mate. Exactly. Why did he keep him on for the full match where he couldn't bloody walk at the end of extra time?
At the end of 90 minutes.
No, the end of
again, yeah. And he played Danny well back on side.
Yeah, he did because he couldn't move. And I think kind of Eddie sort of kicks himself in the arse when he says things like that. Well, why? We had Emil Kraft sitting on his backside getting splinters.
You have forgotten one person. Jamal Lewis can also play.
Do you feel that cold air just coming across?
he may be the new, I don't know, the new Cafu you have to be in Brazil for.
Well, like rising through like a phoenix. Suddenly the forgotten man comes back at left back, and yeah. Listen, I did see potential in him. That Liverpool game where he did his hamstring, I thought he was outstanding, and really gave us a shade of why we possibly signed him. But it's just never happened for Jamal Lewis. Robert D says defensively, Target is solid, but his crossing is as shite as the Mackems. Crafton said a Shah simple decision, says Ray. Look, I think he's not going to drop him, Billy, is he? He's not going to drop Fabian Schär. No matter how many times we say, in a million years, he is not going to drop him.
He'd have done it by now, wouldn't he? Surely, Scott.
Well, you would have thought so. But I just wonder what's going through his mind, though, Billy, when he's sort of thinking about Schär and watching his performances. Because we said the other day, he looks like a liability right now. And if there's any two games coming up that we really need Fabian back to his best, it's tomorrow night and the cup final.
Absolutely. If he comes back tomorrow and plays really well, it's good news for us because then confidence is there. And if he's gonna, let's say, give 120%, it surely will be the cup final. It's got to be that form behind him as well. He's an asset to us. He's a fantastic footballer.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
he's not been that this season.
Well, that's the thing. It's a worry, isn't it? Because you don't know. I mean, you used to say that Fabian would have the odd game, certainly last season, the season before, he would have the odd game where he was all out of the shop and he just didn't look like he wanted to be out on that pitch. But this season, it's more consistent now. It's more consistent with Fabian, where he just, I mean, we've spoken about it many times when we've done the commentary, Billy. His body language looks like he just can't be arsed when he clears the ball, and he just sort of clips it out from the back straight to an opposition player, and you're thinking, well, how are Fabian? You're better than that, mate.
There's no coincidence for me that when you got a fully motivated Fabian Schär, he has a head injury every game because he puts his head into places where people don't put the boots. When's the last time he went down with a head injury?
Mm-hmm.
Been a long time, isn't it?
Yeah,
let's be honest.
I agree. Yes, he's blocked some shots. He's always been a good shot blocker, as has Dan Burn. But I think if Schär's on his game, then so is Dan Burn, because Dan Burn can concentrate on what he's doing and what he's doing alone. And I just think in recent games, you've seen Dan Burn slipping out of position because, Fabian Schär is nowhere to be seen. And yes, granted, Dan Burn has made some errors. He's made some bad passes recently and trying to play out. However, if you always look back to when Schär and Burn are together, if Schär is on his game, Burn's been outstanding this season for me, but he's now starting to have to cover Fabian more than he did earlier on in the season, and it's costing us goals.
Yeah, we need to be more pragmatic. I think Tonali has to sit and not go as far forward as he has been in recent weeks, and because when he has been doing that, he's been leaving them two wide open for counter-attack football. So much so that when we have a corner, we're our most vulnerable. It's ridiculous. But if Tonali sits like he did for that 9-game run, then I think you get protection for Schär and Burn, and their inadequacies are kind of hidden. So,
yeah, I think as well, though, when you look at what we're talking about there, when you're talking about Tonali, Billy, is that down to a bit of discipline between the midfielders, that we've just lost that little bit of discipline where, when we were going on that winning run, that midfield was superb. They didn't drift out of positions or anything like that. They knew where they were needing to be. And now it just seems like Tonali's coming out a little bit more, and we're leaving a few gaps there.
I think it might have been the fact that Joe Linton's been missing. We haven't had our first full strength midfield out for seems like forever. I think he can do that. I think Tonali can sit in the knowledge that we've got creative players that will make a difference in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Super chat from Michael McIntyre. Hi all, Toon. Thank you, Michael. I hope we're screaming that tomorrow. I really do. I hope we're absolutely screaming it. We need to talk about the goalkeepers, Billy.
Yeah,
because I think this is one of the biggest decisions tomorrow, and I just don't know which way Eddie's going to go. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know all the fans, 90% of the fans will want Dubravka. I want Dubravka. You want Dubravka. And I guess tomorrow we'll find out if Dubravka is just the FA Cup goalkeeper now and whether he brings Pope back. But if he brings Pope back tomorrow, I don't think we win the game. And I know that sounds a bit crazy, but I just think the way Pope's been at the minute, it was since he came back, and the uncertainty that he brings to the back four, when there's already a little bit uncertainty with Fabian Schär's form, I think if Nick Pope plays, we lose the game. Because he can't talk about reflexes and that, because Dubravka proved himself against Brighton. He's a fantastic shot stopper. He commanded his box. His distribution was excellent. There's no way he can drop Dubravka.
But there is a way of doing it.
Yeah.
For one, if he doesn't want Tonali to sit in front of the back four, he can pick Pope as a sweeper keeper, which he does better than Dubravka.
Yeah.
I'd personally rather go with the proven record of this season with the 9 games, which Dubravka was in goal for, and Tonali sat in front of the back four.
Well, I like what Claire said in the chat there, Billy. He tried Pope and it failed. Now is the time to show that you have some metal about you, and you realise that bringing Nick Pope back was a mistake, because Martin Dubravka this season has been the better goalkeeper. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
Yeah,
and I think that the form that Dubravka's in and the confidence he will have, but if he drops Dubravka again tomorrow, I don't know where Dubravka's going to be mentally, because I think that just sounds out that the Pope will play the cup final as well.
Well, yeah, if Nick Pope plays tomorrow, he's playing in the cup final. Absolutely no doubt about that. And then you've got Martin Dubravka feeling like he's been duped in signing a year's contract when he could have left for nothing in the summer.
Yeah.
Packed a nice big chunk of change.
Well, Sam Coates with a super chat saying score prediction for tomorrow night, lads. Hey, we'll give you that at the end of the show, matey, as we always do on a preview. Yvonne says, our team needs to pick up on corners or free kicks. We don't make anything from them. Tonali was the specialist in Italy, never used for the Toon. This is something I'll never get used to, Billy. Again, it's something that we keep banging on about in commentary. When we keep seeing Trippier and keep seeing Gordon and all these players taking set pieces, but not the man who was a set piece, is a set piece specialist. He takes them for Italy. He took them for Milan. This guy knows how to take a set piece, yet we never ever use him.
What's worse than that? I mean, as I said, like in last week's review of the Brighton game, every Villa fan I speak to say that Target was a great defender,
but couldn't cross the ball.
His crossing was pathetic.
Yeah.
And yet, at the end of last week's game, he was on set pieces ahead of Tonali.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
I don't understand it. And Tonali, and this is what I mean about Eddie changing things. Just try something different. And look, our set pieces are garbage. I mean, we can openly say that they are garbage. It's the same, or the two different things that they try week in, week out, and it never ever comes to fruition. Nothing. So try somebody who can take a set piece. I mean, when we watched that Italy, the under-23s tournament, Billy, Tonali was taking all the set pieces for Italy, and 9 out of 10 times he found an Italian player when taking these set pieces, whether it be a corner or free kick.
Yeah, and as I said before, we were most vulnerable from our own attacking set pieces because the set pieces are that poor, and we have a little cover at the back. So it makes, if you're going to have someone taking set pieces, put someone in there that's got a chance of hitting somebody's head.
Yeah. Ray Fagan, thank you for your super sticker. Much appreciated, my friend. Philip Keir says, if we don't win the League Cup and fail to finish in the top 4 or 5, it will be classed as a massive missed opportunity this season, considering how bad Man City, Spurs, Man United have been this season. Well, it's all about taking your chances, isn't it? And this is why I say not to change our focus or take our focus away from the Premier League, because I think there's teams proved this season that if you take your eye off the ball in the Premier League, you can find yourself back in the bottom half again. And I think if we're putting the eggs in one basket for the cup final next week and nothing happens, it could be a bit of a disastrous season if we finish bottom half and look at the opportunities that we've had, like the comment just there. Man United, Tottenham, they're all having stinking season. Manchester City, we've got to take advantage of that.
100%, because it's not going to happen again. I mean, next season, you're not going to see Man City as bad as what they've been this season. No chance.
Yeah,
probably not Spurs or Manchester United either.
Yeah,
and
they'll all come back.
You've got teams like Forest and Bournemouth who are probably punching above the weight this season. But if Forest make Champions League, they'll be splashing out in the summer. Maybe they'll be a sort of
well, it doesn't seem like they have a problem attracting any players, Billy. That's a certainty. Whatever they say to these players seems to work, because they can bring some big names in. And everybody thought they were going to fall away. And, they went and beat Manchester City yesterday. So, you can't say that they're going to fall away, because they're beating the teams around them as well. Yes, they have a sort of one-off game where they fall to absolute pieces. But on the other flip side, they're more consistent. And we're not. We're just not consistent. And we've got to get our heads out of our arses and make sure that every game we treat as a cup final now for the run-in, because it is.
Well, it is, yeah. Every game now is important. I mean, say, touchwood we don't, but say we get beaten by Liverpool next week in the cup, we've got to make European football. Otherwise, next season's side is going to look a lot different to the one we've got this season, because you've got players that need European football for us to keep them. So every game that will be a cup final. When we need to kind of go to the end of the season and beaten after that, which is it's possible, I guess, but we shall see.
Yeah. Chris, I did see this. Mitrovic has been rushed to hospital with a heart problem. I think we can all say, hopefully, he gets well soon. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to Mitro, 100%. Bit of shocking news, that. Joseph says, don't worry, guys. Matt Target to become a Toon legend and score the winner in a penalty shootout in the final. I don't think
he'd be destroy my left full back missing penalties thing as well, wouldn't he? If he did that,
well, he would, yeah. I don't think I could take it going to penalties, Billy.
It's better than getting beat 5-0 in normal time.
Well, it is, yes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, as long as you win
it, you're that fucking close, Billy. You can smell the silverware. You can smell it. Yeah. Anthony says we have so many players over 30 plus with no replacements. Only 10 games left in the Premiership. I think it's 12 Newcastle have got. Is it? How many they played? 26. Oh yeah, 10. Yeah. No, 12. 38 games, isn't it? So
yeah, 12. Yeah.
We've played 26, so 12 games left. Because we've got a couple of games in hand now, which is again important, Billy. Because even after tomorrow, we still have a game in hand on some of the teams above us, and we need to make it count, because we've got to catch up now.
100%. Yeah. Even if we win the Carabao Cup, the league position is important, because if we can make that top 5, because it will be top 5 this year, the real money is in Champions League, and if you want your PSR ceilings to rise, that's the place to be. Yeah,
I guess so. Jack says if we don't get top 5 or Champions League, we can't expect to keep all our big players. If we don't even get Europe again, I think we will struggle to keep Isak, Bruno, and Tonali. I'm not worried about Tonali. Right, and I'll tell you why I'm not worried about Tonali, because from everything that's come out, even when those ridiculous newspaper reports were coming out about Sandro saying that he was homesick, he wanted to go back to Milan or go back and play in Serie A, then himself and his agent came out and said, "I'm loving life at Newcastle." But the one thing that Sandro said is, "I owe this club and I owe the fans," and I don't think Sandro would just jump ship. I'm not particularly worried about Sandro. Isak, Bruno, possibly yes. But at the same time, if these players think they're Champions League level, then get us in the Champions League. It's all right jumping ship. Just like when teams get relegated, Billy, they can't wait to leave the club, but it's them players that got the club relegated.
And the good thing about it is, if they do, we're going to get a lot of money for them, and we can.
Of course, we are.
We'll build from there.
Yeah.
There's rumours again with Tonali going to Juventus, swapping in with Douglas Luiz, but
yeah,
I mean that could be a big boost for our ladies team, couldn't it?
You're talking about Alicia Lehman, aren't you?
Who is that her name?
Yeah, you know damn well who I'm talking about. Philip says, surely we have to spend big in the summer with the sponsorships and a new training ground. Look, the club have already said, I mean, Darren Eales has said they're looking forward to the summer. But look, there is players going to leave. We just hope that it's not the big boys that leave. We want to build a squad around these elite players that we already have. But we have to be, we have to be up there. We've got a challenge. And it's no point seeing these. We've played 27, says Washi. Have we? I thought we played 26, Billy. Let me have a look at the Premier League. We have played 27. Yeah. Okay. So we've got 11 games left. They leave Isak alone for 5 minutes, and then the press start on Tonali. Well, it's going to happen.
We've had to Gordon and Bruno again before you know it. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Paul Geordie says, Paul, I've just spoken to a mate who knows a guy who did some work for a doctor, and this is what pink eye is. When someone farts in your face, causing poo particles to enter the eye, making it go pink. Dear God. The man never stops. Keith with another super chat. Thank you, mate. Club came out a few weeks ago and said even if we didn't get Champions League, they will not allow important players to leave. Indeed. But it never works like that in football. No matter how... Exactly. I mean, if we said we're not selling Isak, Billy, but then somebody comes in with 150 million quid, are they really turning that down? I don't know. And then again, the player himself may turn around and say, I do want to go. And one thing you don't want is an unhappy player. And it's certainly the way Eddie likes the dressing rooms. We just can't afford that to happen, Bill.
I wouldn't mind if I wouldn't mind. I don't want him to go anywhere, but if he does, I'd send him go abroad.
Yeah.
The PSG one makes the most sense for me, I must say.
I think we'd want some money in that as well, though, Billy.
Oh, of course we would.
Yeah. Chipper says, thing is, who will come in with 150 million who has that money? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You don't pay it, you don't get him. Yeah. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Shit will get off the pot, that's what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we'll have to see. But anyway, players to look out for tomorrow night for the opposition, Billy. One stands out a mile, which is, of course, Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
Captaining the side as well. He's some player, isn't he? And a player that could have been playing for Newcastle United.
Yeah, and he wanted to join us and was supposed to be meeting up with the.
Well, he was at a service station.
Yeah. Scotch Corner Services.
Yeah.
And then Ashley realised that they wanted money for him, and that kind of put a scup on it. 10 million quid would have got him. Poor business from Marcassi, that, but typical Marcassi.
We wouldn't have been saying we have a problem with the right hand side now. I know that much.
No,
absolutely superb player. Where is the game going to be won and lost tomorrow, Bill?
It's going to be our ability to feed Isak if he plays. It's going to be the midfield, as always, generally in these games, and also with our defence solidifying themselves, being more sound defensively, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If we can keep a clean sheet, we'll win the game, I think.
Well, to me, that's whoever plays in goal. But we've got to be better. We've just got to be better all round. And again, they've had a good week. They've had a good week training. They're ready to go. But like you say, Eddie says that they're not concentrating on the cup final. The thoughts are not on the cup final, despite many players coming out on social media talking about the cup final. They need to get this 90 minutes done and make sure that they win the game.
100%. Yeah, 100%. We need to get this game over, win the game, put ourselves in good frame of mind for the next game, and hopefully we can by the end of this time next week, can be celebrating something bigger than a win against West Ham away.
Absolutely. Right, let's do predictions. Get your predictions in the chat, guys. Let us see how you're feeling ahead of the game. Are you confident? Interesting to see how the viewers predict this game, Billy, because we have no idea what team lineup is going to be. I mean, we've predicted ours, but I mean, what is your ideal starting 11, Billy?
Dubravka in goal, obviously. I would go Livramento, Kraft, Byrne, and Target. Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno. Barnes, Isak, and Murphy.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see as well. But I don't think it will be. No, I think you'll play Livramento left back, Trippier right back, and Byrne and Shea. Yeah. And I think that's a weakness for us. I genuinely think that's a weakness for us at the minute. There is quite a lot of confidence we're going to win the game tomorrow, actually, judging by these scores coming in. What do you reckon, Billy?
I'm going to go with what I said earlier about keeping a clean sheet. I think Tonali's sat in front of the back four. We go back to that form that we had in the 9-game winning run. I think we win the game 2-0.
Peter Garthwaite super chats and says Pope has had a rest. He will play in goal. Well, I'll be furious. I will be furious. And I think a lot of Newcastle fans will be. Absolutely foaming. But hey, it's just like Eddie to do it, isn't it? I'm going 2-1 to Newcastle. I think, judging by what's coming up next week, I'm praying that the players will want to go out and perform and get in Eddie's head. The ones that are certainly on the fringe of getting in the first 11 for the cup final, I think need to stand up and be counted. I want to see us defensively better. But again, that's a big wish given how Fabian Schär is playing at the minute. But look, he may turn out and have a fantastic game. He may stand up in the cup final as well. We will have to wait and see. But thank you very much for watching tonight, guys. It's been a brilliant show as usual. Thank you for your super chats and memberships, etc. Mods, you've been fantastic. Thank you to Billy. And of course, thank you to Mamaroo Records for sponsoring the channel. Check them out in Whitley Bay. If you can't get into the shop itself, check them out online. That's pinned at the top of the description. Me and Billy Bob are back tomorrow. 7:30 start for an 8 o'clock kickoff. It is, of course, West Ham Newcastle, and we will bring you live commentary of the game. Half an hour build-up, of course, talking about the team news, having a moan, having a whinge like we normally do before we kick off. But hopefully, we see Newcastle United win the game and go into the cup final with a real bit of motivation and morale boost. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, folks, and we will see you at 7:30 tomorrow for the match. Good night.
Leave it out, geezer. Baked potato.
Come back and check out the